Right. Good morning. Right. We may. So today we are going to discuss some questions. Can I give you another small question for you all? Right. Please write down this question. Right. I prepare another questions. Apart from this, I think it may be benefited to you all. Right. You can write down this question. Right. First, what are the purposes of environmental analysis? Now you know. Okay. Just put what are the purposes of environmental analysis. What are the purposes of environmental analysis? Right? What are the purposes of environmental analysis? Right. I will try to explain that. Now, you know these in businesses, you know, before you preparations of an strategy plan, it is the first steps involving in the preparation of strategy planning for any organization um, to study about the maybe I mean the first part of undertaking analysis of an organization overall position is it is a detailed appraisal of its external environment, right? And the organization must understand what is happening in the outside world that impact on the future strategies of an organization. For that purposes, why should an organization bother to spend more time and money needed to undertake a complete environmental analysis? There are several key purposes for that, right? So that's the purposes of environmental analysis. The first point you can just put down identifications of threats and opportunities. Identifications of threat and opportunities. Why I'm telling, there may be a possibility of us asking this year's question on this area because last time they asked something and this year may can ask on this, right? Purposes of environmental analysis. Right. First one, identifications of threats and opportunities. Now, you see the analyzing of its environment can help an organization to identify the potential problems it may have to face. Now, say for an example, the future changes in legislation and how it affects your operations. And also see some possible areas of for growth. So that's the business opportunities, and you need to take an advantage of that. So therefore, environmental analysis is important. One of the main purposes identification of threats and opportunities. Second one, second assessment of competition. Second one, assessment of competition. Assessment of competition. Basically, the competitor analysis. Now, you know the environmental analysis involves in part organizations, competitors. Understanding how rivals are acting in the market may help you the organization to stay more competitive in the market. Now you need to understand who are your immediate competitors. Now say for an example, Bank of Ceylon and Commercial Bank. Both are two more equal competitors. Now for example, HNB and Sampal. Then DFCC, NTB and NDB. So all are the people are similar size. They may have a competition among themselves, right? So therefore, we need to understand when you're developing your strategic plan, assessment of competition is important. That is why we need to analyze external environment as well as internal environment. The second one, identification of strength and weaknesses of your organization. So therefore, environmental analysis facilitate for you to understand its strengths and weaknesses, which help the organization to design appropriate strategies. So you need to understand what are the organization's strengths, You need to understand what are your organizational weaknesses. Then only you can develop your strategies better. So therefore, uh, environmental analysis also facilitate identifications of strengths and weaknesses of your organization. The fourth one, you can write down meeting stakeholder needs. Meeting stakeholder needs. Now, and you need to understand, there are different people now. Who is stakeholder? The people who are interested about your organization. So different stakeholders, example, your shareholders, your customers, your customer management staff, and your employees, your government, local government, right? They are expecting something from you, right? While shareholders are like to want a high return on the investment, other stakeholders may have different demands on the organization, right? Different stakeholders having different. So therefore, remember, uh, you need to meet the stakeholders' needs. These are the four main purposes of environmental analysis, right? One, identifications of threats and opportunities, assessments of competition. Third, identification of strengths and weaknesses. And the last one is meeting stakeholder needs. Clear? Right. Then the second question, write down this question. What sort of problems, right? What are the major problems with environmental analysis? Now, when you're conducting some environmental analysis, you face some problems. Now, the question is asking, what are the major problems you are faced with when you are doing your environmental analysis? Now, the environmental is extremely useful. So we have just little while ago discussed in detail. Environmental analysis is extremely useful for organization but it is becoming increasingly difficult to undertake. But even though it's difficult to undertake, now the main reason for this is the
Hello, sir.
yeah, okay,
Sir, can you repeat the second question?
right. What are the major problems with environmental analysis? What are the major problems with environmental analysis? Right? What are the major problems with environmental analysis? Clear?
Thank you, sir. And I have missed one point in first question.
Right. What are the purposes of environmental analysis? No? That
Yes,
first
sir.
one, identifications of threats and opportunities.
Threats and opportunities. Done.
Assessment of competition.
Done.
Identifications of strengths and weaknesses of your organization.
Identification of.
Identification of strengths and weaknesses. Right?
Thank you, sir.
Fourth one, meeting stakeholder needs. Okay? Right.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Right. Now, second one, what are the major problems with environmental analysis? Now, we discuss, environmental analysis is extremely useful for organization, but it's very difficult to undertake. Why? The reason behind this, the increasing volatility and the rate of change in the global market. Because the turbulent nature of the environment, it is very difficult to, once you complete your analysis, it may change, right? So those are the problems faced by the strategic planners when you're developing when you are conducting your environmental analysis. Now, this volatile, taking place due to various reasons. What are the reasons? One is changing technology. Now, because of the changing technology, is leading for a development of new product and services, right? So, because of the changing of the technology, there are so many things are taking place. So many changes are taking place, and sometimes there may be a global economy weaknesses, right? One of the other reason, and another important reason. You think about today's epidemic. COVID-19 epidemic, right? It's changed everything. Okay, and also another factor, increasing globalizations of many markets, right? Now, a lot of issues are faced by because of the globalization. So there are a lot of changes are taking place because of that, right? So these are the some of the problems you may face um, when you conducting your environment analysis. Clear? Okay. If you have any problem, please ask, right? Okay. So what are the major problems with environmental analysis? Because one thing is difficult to undertake because of increasing volatility and the rate change in the global market. So this comes because of the some people have not uh, educate enough to conduct this environmental analysis. Then due to changes in technology, now due to some epidemics like COVID-19, so all things have changed. What we have planned last, say for an example, last January 2020 January, you cannot employ in entire year. No, why? You did a nice analysis of environment, but there's some environmental issue comes, right? So what is the purpose of done environmental analysis? Because these factors, right? That's the second question. Third question, right? Okay, I'll ask from you now. I'll ask a small question from you. Clear? Right. What are the models or what are the techniques you can use for such environmental analysis? You have learned. Can you tell me what are the techniques you can use for analyze your external environment? Yasanti, can you tell me what are the techniques or model you can use to analyze your external environment? I think
Demand. Demand for goods.
I didn't get it, Buddha. What is that?
Demand for goods.
Not clear. Come on, it's okay. Now,
Customer expectations.
No. Just think about the technique, Buddha. Now, one technique you know. What is that? Pestle analysis. Right? You are using pestle analysis to find out your existing environment, external environment.
Pestle analysis.
Yeah, pestle. Tell me another one like that. You learn. We have learned all these things. One more. Something similar to pestle analysis. SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis. Tell me another one. Can you tell me another analysis? We learned. Jackson one, Michael Jackson one. Can you remember? Not Jackson, right? Michael Porter. What is that?
Michael Porter.
Michael Porter 5 forces analysis. Clear?
Yes,
okay,
sir.
No? Right? Okay. Now if say like this, what are the third question? Name 3 techniques. Name 3 techniques you can use for environmental analysis. Name and discuss. Name and discuss. Name and discuss the 3 tools available for analysis the external environment. Okay, right. Then what you, if a question comes like that, there are 3 types of techniques. So one technique you can say, what are the 3 types of techniques you can say? You can say pestle analysis, right? So what is pestle analysis talk about? Right? Pestle analysis, now write a short notes. about the pestle analysis. You can write pestle analysis, right? Pestle analysis is an excellent way of gaining an understanding of the main environmental issues that may affect the organization. That may affect the organization. Right. That may use to analyze the environment. Right. Now, as you are well aware, these external factors like pestle factors, you cannot control, but you need to identify factors. So then you can develop your strategies to suit of the external environment where you cannot control, right? So then the next step you have to say, what is pestle stand for? Right now, for that you can say P is political, and always when you answer in the question, mind you, write down 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. 1, political. Points acronym, you have to explain the word pestle. P mean political. Then E mean economic. S mean social, cultural. T mean technological. E mean pestle, TE, environmental. L mean legal. So you need to tell the examiner what is this pestle stand for, right? You need to say, okay. Now from that point, you can say, right, how, if you want to split, which is changing of these environment factors, like now political, changing the government, new laws, then wars, new taxes, so it will impact your businesses. Now say for social factors, we discuss changing of the demography, culture patterns, education, income level, all are social cultural factors. Interest rate, exchange rate, inflation, all these comes under economic factors. Then innovations, change, developments, all that comes under technology. And health and safety legislation, and then consumer laws comes under legal, whereas pollution, climate change, all factors come as an environmental factors. Now, why I am telling all these things? Right? Because it is important for you to understand, because it has a direct impact about your organization, businesses, right? It's directly impact your organization, businesses, where you cannot control. So the pestle analysis will help you to understand how these external factors impact your businesses, right? So that is why you need to understand all these things. Clear? Right. Just give you pestle factors. Then you look at it, the Michael Porter's 5 forces analysis. Porter's 5 forces analysis. Third model or third technique. So what are the things you write under that? Now you can say 5 forces basically examine an organization industry. 5 forces examines an organization industry. Now say for an example, banking. So you examine organization industry. Right? Now then you have to explain what are those 5 forces. You need to explain what are these 5 forces. What are the 5 forces? One force is rivalry amongst competitors. It is there in your notes, right? But I will tell you how to write an answer. So please, if you miss, copy it from your notes. Okay. rivalry amongst competitors. Second, new entrants, threat of new entrants, threat of new entrants. Then substitutes, right? Substitutes, threat of substitutes. Then bargaining power of buyers and bargaining power of suppliers. So those are the 5 forces of Michael Fort. Okay. Now, why you need to know? Because of if you really understand these forces, how it impact your organization, it determines the profit you're going to earn. Right? So remember, the determined profit potential based on these factors, 5 factors, how it impact your business. If you understand all these 5 factors, you can look at it. What are the factors we are need to be looking into, right? And what factors we need to strengthen, right? So this model also be useful to generate ideas for a position analysis. So what is my present position? So therefore remember, so the Michael Porter 5 forces analysis also can be used to understand, especially for your competitors, the technique we use. Right? Okay. What's the third one? Third one, as you very simply known by, what is that one? We call SWOT analysis. Now I explained to you SWOT analysis, right? Now through the SWOT analysis, you may in a position to understand internal as well as external environment, right? Through internal environmental analysis, you need to find it out what are the strengths and weaknesses of your organization, right? Through external analysis of SWOT opportunities and threats. So therefore, carrying out a SWOT analysis, so you are benefited to understand your organization present position. I explained to you when I did my lecturing, but SWOT analysis is like a balance sheet of your organization. What balance sheet talk to you in financial terms? It gives you a financial position about your organization at any given time. That is why we say balance sheet as at such a date. Likewise, the SWOT analysis tells you your organizational present situation, present position, right? It facilitates to identify your organizational strengths and weaknesses, as well as what are the opportunities and threats you're going to face internally and externally, right? Okay, so some of the things. So for there also you have to explain now what is SWOT stand for. You have to say S, the strengths that are good at, better than your competitors. Weaknesses, you are not good than your competitor. Opportunities, the facilities available in the market. And the three is what are going to threats you are going to face from the external environment. Right? So let's talk about the SWOT. So therefore, there are 3 techniques you can use for environmental analysis. What are these environmental analysis techniques? SWOT, Michael Porter 5 forces analysis, then pestle analysis. Clear? Right? So you need to explain. Right? Now the question, I'm just telling, if I develop a questions like this, in order to develop, I just give you a question, right? In order to develop a strategic planning, it is paramount importance to analyze your external business environment. Now, the business environment can be divided into two, internal and external environment? That's a question. I just frame it up, right? First question I'll ask, okay, right? So in developing a strategy plan, it is a paramount importance for every organization to analyze their their environment, right? Their environment, right? So the environment can be divided into two, both internal and external. That's the question. First question under that, I explained to you what are the purposes of environmental analysis. Why we need to carry out environmental analysis. We gave the answer: identifications of threats and opportunities, assessments of competition, identification of strategies, strengths and weaknesses, meeting stakeholder. Then the second question we discussed the same one, part two. What are the major problems you are facing with when you are going to conduct environmental analysis? Then we discussed it's difficult to undertake because the increasing volatility and the rate of change in the global market. That may be volatility due to changes in the technology, increase the globalization, due to emerging economics and things. The third question I asked from you, what are the techniques or what are the model you can use for such environmental analysis? What are the techniques, right? So three techniques I explained to you. One is pestle analysis, Michael Porter's 5 forces analysis, Porter's 5 forces analysis. Third one, SWOT analysis. Then you need to explain little bit of these techniques, right? First, you say about the pestle analysis. So pestle analysis. So these are the, we need to understand environment factors which directly or indirectly impact your business, where you cannot control these factors. For that, you need to understand what are those factors, how these factors are impacting your business, right? Then you have to explain what is pestle stand for. P mean political, E mean economic, S mean social cultural, T mean technological, E mean environmental, L mean legal. And how these factors where you cannot control, but if you know all these factors, how these things are changing, you can develop better strategies for your organization, right? Okay, then we discuss what is Michael Porter's 5 forces analysis, and 5 forces examine the organization industry, and then you explain what are the type of 5 forces you are going to impact primarily among competitors, threat of new entrants, new competitors coming to the business, threat of substitutes, power of bargaining power of suppliers and bargaining power of customers, and rivalry among competitors. These are the 5 forces. Now, to the impact of these forces, right, it will determine your profits. One way also you can come up with to what extent these factors are contributed to your position, right? So therefore, Michael Porter facilitate for you to understand how to manage these 5 forces. Then we discuss the SWOT analysis. Then you say SWOT analysis talk about the organization overall position in a given period of time. Then you have to explain what is SWOT. S, strengths, what are you good at than your competitors, or W, weaknesses, what are not good against your competitors, opportunities available in the market and that available faced you by the organization. So SWOT analysis is like a balance sheet in the organization. Give you a position. It will analyze the internal environment as well as external environment. Clear? Right. That's the third question. Now the fourth question I'm going to ask from you. Write down what are the how you put it? What are the issues? What are the issues you're going to face with this external environmental analytical techniques. What are the issues? Right? When you're going to use these three techniques, what are the issues you are going to face when you're using these techniques? Issues of these techniques when you're going to apply, when you're going to conduct your environmental analysis. Right? Now, basically, it's limitations and weaknesses. First, we'll take one by one. First, we'll take the pestle weaknesses, criticism of pestle, or weaknesses or limitation, what you call it, right? What are the limitations of weaknesses? Okay, let me explain now. One factor is formal pestle analysis. Write down. Formal pestle analysis may quickly become irrelevant, right? This is particularly a problem in fast-moving industries such as computing or mobile phone industries. So, and because the quickly irrelevant, because the environment factors are keep on changing.
Hello,
So,
sir. I didn't
yeah.
get that.
Now we are the fourth question. Now, fourth question we are going to
Yes, sir.
discuss. Right. So, what are the limitations of problem of these issues? Right. Okay. First point. Pestle analysis may quickly become irrelevant. Right? irrelevant. Why? Because especially if you are involving in fast-moving industries like computing or mobile phones, the technologies keep on rapidly changing, right? So what you apply to use of uh, political factors may not apply because it has changed because of the industry. Second, good. Right. Then,
Yes, sir.
clear or not?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay. Second point. The press may be incomplete. What do you mean by incomplete? Well, you may not have adequate information about what is happening in the economy, right? And you may going to take a decisions about limited information you have. Now, in order to do a pestle analysis, you need to know what is the inflation rate, what is the exchange rate, or right. So, if you want to know about the economic status of the country, suppose if you have not known all this, you are difficult to getting this information. You may take decisions not having full information. Sometimes this is a technical word we call. If you take decision without not having much information, we call bounded rationality. I don't know whether you heard that. So what is bounded rationality mean? So if you're going to take decision without full information, right? So the pestle analysis, you need information of all the areas. For that, you need to know. That is why I call pestle may be incomplete, right? You need to have a full information. And also another problem or criticism or limitations of pestle analysis is its process is prone to bias. Process is prone to bias. What do you mean by that? That means different managers may have different ideas. What is important? They may have more information about the technology. They may not consider about social cultural factors. Some people are only considered technology, not other factors. Right? So, but if you want to have a better analytical tool of pestle, you need to collect all the information, not one or two information of different factors. So these are the three important problem faced by the through the pestle analysis. Right? Clear? Understood? Right. Now let's look at it.
Sir?
Yes.
Sir, can you explain the last point a little bit?
That is prone, right? That's
Yes,
what.
sir.
No? Process is prone to bias, right? Now, somebody has to conduct this pestle analysis, no, Kuta? Somebody has to conduct pestle analysis. Now, say some people are only pestle analysis mean, but you need to get the information about political, economic, social, cultural, technological, all factors you need to collect information. But some managers, they only concentrate on only collecting some areas of information. Say I am very technological guy. Say I am in a technological man. So I am trying to get information about only the technological. I am sometimes may forget or not necessarily. I'm not interested to take information about social cultural factors, not interested about taking economy. Then I have not got the correct picture of the environment. Clear? So I am
Yes, sir.
biased to only for technological side. But that is the human character. Clear? Now you also like that, when you are trying to answer the question, when you are studying, you may have some interested areas in your financial institution management. If I ask you what is the important area in your financial management, institution management subject, now I think you learn from Dr. Sridharan corporate governance, and you may learn about the risk management, and then you learn about licensing and registrations, and then you learn about the regulation, learn about compliance, and you may learn about strategies, and you may learn about fraud, everything you learn which are comes under the purview of the financial institution management. No? Now you may not like all these sections, no? So you may like certain areas. So you are trying to learn more on that area. Same way, some managers, when you're going to analyze the external environment, he may prone to bias for his like areas. Now clear? Hari Buddha. We got the
Yes,
answer?
sir.
Right. Okay. Now these are some of the problems you are faced with the pestle analysis. Right. Then you move into the SWOT analysis. So what are the problems? So what are the issues you are faced with SWOT analysis? I think that's, of course, we learn. What are the disadvantages? Right? Because one is too simple also a disadvantage. Right. So then SWOT analysis will give you a general picture of the organization, or general picture about the position of the organization. That is why sometimes we call positional audit. Right? Now we are not identify the priorities. It's give you if you certain present position. So one disadvantage or one limitation. So it's not identify priorities, but which one is more important. Then again, third point. Now, if you want to collect more information, so SWOT will give you a guideline. You need to go for more research, more investigation to find it out, the details, why it is happened. The SWOT will give you a general picture, right? Okay, at any given time. So these are some of the weaknesses. Clear now? Okay, right. Now what we, just to summarize, what we have discussed up to now, we discussed why we need to conduct environmental analysis. Then we discuss what are the major problems you face or organization face with when you're going for environmental analysis. Then third question I'll ask from you, what are the techniques or model you can use for organization to conduct environmental analysis? I'll briefly explain. Then what are the three techniques we discussed? Pestle, Michael Porter 5 forces, and SWOT analysis. Okay. Then the next question I'll ask from you, when you're going to apply all these techniques, what are the limitations of all these techniques? Clear? Right. Now, final question on that. Now, we discuss the the environmental divided into two. One is internal environment, other one is external environment, right? Internal and external environment. So we also need to analyze the internal environment as well. We need to analyze our internal and environment analysis as well, right? Okay, so what are the approach? What are the, okay, you can write the last question. You can say, what are the approach? What are the approaches you can use for analyzing your, what are the approaches you can use for analyzing your internal environment, analyzing your internal environment, analyzing your internal environment, right? Okay, now let me explain what are the approaches. There are three approaches, right? What are the three approaches you can use to analyze your internal approaches, internal strength and weaknesses, right? Right. One is functional analysis. Functional analysis. Second approach is resource-based analysis. Resource-based analysis. Resource-based analysis. Third one, value chain analysis. Third analysis we call value chain analysis, right? Okay, let me explain now these three approaches. First, we take the functional approach. Now, what do you mean by a functional approach? Mean in your organization, any organization for bank, you have a different functional activities. Any organization. What are the functional activities you may carry out? Marketing and distribution, financial and accounting, production and engineering, human resources, research and development, your organization culture and your organization management. These are the main functional activities organization need to carry. Right? What are the again? I am repeating: marketing and distribution, financial and accounting, production and engineering, human resources, research and development, and organization culture and management. These are functional activities. Every organization have all these functions. Right? Now, what we are going to analyze through internal analysis or internal audit, we need to find it out. All to what extent these internal factors or internal functional activities efficiently and effectively conduct the organization. What are the weak areas? You may be good at marketing, but you may be very bad at human resources. You may have good at your research, but some are not. So you need to understand what are you good at in all these functional areas. In your weak areas, now you know these are the areas when you develop our strategies, we need to address all these things. Clear? Any issues on that, Puta? Clear there? I need a feedback from you. I go for next analysis, right? Okay? Clear?
Yes, sir.
Right. Next one. The next approach is we call resource-based approach. Resource-based approach. So we have a three type of resources evaluation or assessment. What is a three resources analysis? One we call the physical resources. What are the physical resources? We talk about building and the land, your location, your technology, your raw material. We look at it, all these physical resources. So are you having required technology? How you place your business in a separate good location? Your machines and office are not up to the standard, like that. You need to look at it, analyze your internal physical resources. Second resource is human resources. Now, under human resources, we are going to analyze your employees, whether they have not adequate trained, what are their competencies, where are their skills, knowledge, all things you are going to analyze. You have a talented, compatible, knowledgeable workforce. Those are resource for you all. Right? Third resource, we call them as institutional resource. What are the institutional resources? In terms of your structure, your uh, your information system. You have a very well information system. Then you may have a good reputation. You have a brand name for your organization. High brand value. We have a brand value competitions also now. This best brand, like that. So those are we call institutional resources. Through the resource audit or through the resource-based approach, you are going to find it out of all these three types of resources: physical, humans, and institutional. What I am good, what I am bad. Basically, these three approach, we are going to talk about internal strength and weaknesses. Internal, especially internal. Earlier we discussed overall, internal and external, but in here specifically asking internal strength and weaknesses. What are the approach you can use it? Right. Clear? Now that is the third one we call a resource-based approach. We call them as resource-based approach. Clear? Right. Third one, we call them as, what is that? Value chain analysis. We call them as value chain analysis. Right? Remember value chain analysis? Okay, right. I have not tell you about the weaknesses of Michael Porter's. Did I explain to you? I forget. I can remember. Did I explain to you about the limitations of Michael Porter's? Huh? Did I explain to you the limitations of Michael Porter?
No, sir.
Huh? No.
No, sir. We have missed that part.
What are the things I have put it? Can tell me what?
Pestle and SWOT. Pestle and SWOT.
Yeah, not the Michael Porter, no? Right.
Yes, sir.
All right. I will tell you, right? So first we finish we finish with this value chain analysis, right? Okay,
sir.
right.
Okay,
now
sir.
I'll explain about the value chain and then I come back to you. Right. Now value chain analysis is, what is value chain analysis talk about? Now you see Michael Porter has identified the value chain analysis, right? Now he has identified so the ultimately any organization, what is the expectation? Provide value to the customers, right? And he has identified there are three type of activities. What are the two type of activities? The first one we call them as the primary activities an organization. Other one is support activities. Now please refer your notes, right? I think I have given you, but only thing you need to get it here, right? What are the any organization, right? According to the Michael Porter. So what organizations try to do? Try to create value for customers, right? So in value chain process, we identify two type of activities. One is primary activities, other one is supportive activities. Can you remember the diagram, Michael Porter one? If you can draw that one, is you do want to explain, right? So what are the primary activities. Inbound logistics, you take the raw materials, and operation stage, you are converted these raw materials in the process and end up with outbound logistics, that is your final output. Then you carried out your marketing and sales, and then you conduct after sales services. Those are five main primary activities. What are the primary activities of value chain process? Inbound logistic, operations, outbound logistic, marketing and sales services. Then in order to do these main activities or primary activities, Michael Port has identified you need to give support activities. What are the supportive activities? That is procurement. You need to, in order to bring your raw material into the organization, you must have a better procurement process, right? And if you come up with operation, you may support with new technological development, using new technology to convert your raw material into final output. And who is going to do all these things? By the human being. So you need to manage your human resources. Those are supportive. You must train them, educate them, recruit them, correct people, and like that. And in order to do all these things, you must have an organizational infrastructure, firms infrastructure to facilitate all these activities. Now, what Michael Porter talked about in the value chain approach, he said every organization have a five main activities. What are the five main activities? Inbound logistic, operations, outbound logistic, marketing and sales, services. I think I have given you that diagram, right? And in order to main activities, there are some four supportive activities. That is procurement, technology development, human resource, and firm. Now, through the value chain approach, what you're going to do? You are going to look at it. What are the you good or you are weak in these main activities? That's about the value. Suppose your inbound logistics is good, your operation is weak. Why? You are still, now say for an example for bank. Now some banks, they have enough customers, but operation wise they are weak. Why? They are still using old methods of IT. They don't use now modern technologically. They are not using core banking. Like example, I can quote you National Service Bank. They have a very good client base. They have a very good money. Everything is heavy. But the operation wise, they have a little backward. Why? Still, they have not online facilities. There are limited online facilities. Not like Sampat and commercial. So in that case, the technological aspect, they have not good. So what they try to do now? They want to improve the efficiency about the operation. They may go for core banking solution. They are going now, right? But what is the issue then? Because of technology need to be support. They have identified their weaknesses. They need to fulfill their requirement. Some organization, all things are good, but they have a product. There are no people to market their product. That means their marketing is weak, right? For that, we need people recruited by the HR, right? People to sell their products, good marketers, communicate their products, sell their products, right? Now understood, no? So therefore, the Porter's generic value chain, try to identify what are the weaknesses area, try to rectify. So therefore, these are the three techniques you can use for approach, or you can use for analyze your internal environment. Clear now, right? Any issues? Got the point? Clear? What are the three approaches you use for internal analysis? One is functional analysis, resources analysis, and value chain analysis. Clear? Right. Now, going back to some of the limitations and weaknesses of Michael Porter. you can write down, right? One of the weaknesses of Michael Porter is, first point, the dynamic industries limitation. First point, dynamic industries. Dynamic industry. Right? Suppose, you noted that your industries keep on changing very rapidly. So your industry may find little benefit from industry analysis if your organization is more dynamic. By the time the analysis has been done, the industry has moved on to another area. Right? So therefore, one factor, one limitation, Porter's analysis mean not ideal for the dynamic industries. Right. Second one, right. So second one you can say collaborations. Second one you can say collaboration. COLLABORATION. Collaboration mean, now this this model basically assumes businesses operate independently against each other. Right? It ignores collaborating. Now say, I'll explain to you on that, right? So now the collaboration. So certain organizations are like organizations like strategic alliances, organizations like joint ventures. So they are work together. But is Michael Porter is talking about individual independent organization. For such organization, so this Porter maybe have some limitation, especially for organizations like strategic alliances, joint venture organization. You cannot apply this strategic Michael Porter's model. Right? Okay. Third one I can tell you, this may not ideal for non-profit organization. Right? Non-profit or NFPs. Right? So if your profit is not an objective, it is very difficult to do this analysis. If your organization is more profit oriented, you can use this analysis. Whereas the charitable organization may not 100% accurate. So these are some of the limitations of Michael Porter's, right, analysis. Okay, so I have explained to you a question which are basically which I have not gave you earlier. Right.
Sir,
Yes.
can you explain it? Collaboration? It's not very much clear.
What is that, Pudha?
Collaboration.
Right, collaboration. Right.
Yeah.
Now, okay, I will explain. So collaborations mean, so two organizations joined together are having some benefit to the organization. Not one organization, they are not work individually. So example for like that is strategic alliances. Two companies join together. Then example of joint venture. Right? There are now say Maruti Suzuki. Right? Now say for an example, what is the strategic alliance for Sri Lankan banking industry? Example is Lanka Clear. They are dealing with other banks. So then how we use competition with Lanka Clear? If you analyze the Lanka Clear, it's very difficult because they are dealing with support with other banks. Clear now? So that is collaborative benefit. Then එකතු වෙලා ලැබෙන synergistic benefit එක අපිට usually remember the Michael Porter's analysis is done for independent organization analysis. Then දෙකක්නේ එකතු වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. So therefore you can't get the clear picture about the competition. Now you
So
got
collaboration does not count amalgamations, right?
What is that, Pudha?
Collaboration does not count amalgamations, right?
Yeah, two. Okay. You can think on that way. See, if two organizations together, how can you analyze individual organization? Because the success of other organization depends on another party, right? So you cannot independently analyze the particular organization because there are two organizations together. So what is the limitation here? We are talking very simply, Puta. Now, if Michael Porter is very ideal for independent organizations analysis, right? If your organizations are jointly work, it is very difficult to make use of Michael Porter's analysis. That, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. Okay.
Thank you.
So we have now come to an end of that question, which in fact, morning only I have thought of, because there's no questions came on this area, right? That is why I interested about giving. So, Sylvie, how many minutes we have? Okay, we have another 1 hour, no? Is correct, no?
Yes,
1
sir.
hour? Yes. Okay. Now, if I give you a questions like this, right now, if in your organization, there is always comparison, no? Right? Uh, okay. Now, if I put it like this, another questions, comparison, right? Have you done? Last year's question comparison? One is CFE versus contingency funding plan versus BCP. We have done it, no? Kala dega. So the questions appeared in last year. Not done. See whether I have that question paper with me. Are you aware about now what is the liquidity deposit insurance scheme now? What is the maximum amount customer can get? This is nothing to do with my subject, right? But you need to know. No? Suppose a particular organization or particular bank lost suspensions or cancel, what is the maximum amount the customers can get?
300,000 rupees maximum.
No, more than that. Yeah, one time is 300,000, but not. It was increased to 600,000, right? Can anybody tell me what is the maximum compensation given under the deposit insurance and liquidity support scheme for any at the event of a bank cancel or suspends their license? No idea? Come on. I think you have to learn these things, right? Sure? No idea. How much? Suppose, for an example, we'll say now, as an example, LB Finance close or suspend. Now, how much of money a depositor in LB Finance? I am not telling LB Finance going to close, right? Suppose LB Finance going to central bank has suspend their business operations like the finance, like Swarna Mahal and all, right? Say LB Finance close. What is the maximum amount of compensation under the liquidity deposit insurance and liquidity support scheme a customer can get it? What is the maximum amount? Per depositor, per customer, per bank, or per institution. How much? Now it was there for 600,000. Now from March 19th, so central bank has informed they have increased the compensation, maximum compensation payment under Sri Lanka Deposit Insurance and Liquidity Support Scheme from 600,000 to 1.1 million. That means 11 lakhs. Right? So this decision has been taken to provide further relief to the depositors of financial institutions regulated by Central Bank of Sri Lanka in the event of a cancellation or suspension of the license of such institutions. Now, up to now, we had it only 600,000. Now it was increased to how much? 11 lakhs, so 1.1 billion. So you have to learn, I don't know, you need to learn this. It is not covered under me, but you need to learn that also, right? So the examiner can ask, because it's a new thing in your exam. I heard that exam is going to be there somewhere in mid or end June, somewhere in end June or early June or mid end June, right? Your exam is going to conduct. Okay, so what is the maximum amount now? If the examiner asks from you, what is the maximum compensation payment under Sri Lanka Deposit Insurance Scheme for a customer? How much you say? You pay 300, wrong. Yes, one time is 300. At up to March, they have given only 600,000. For March 19 onwards, this year, it was increased from 600,000 to 1.1. Honestly, these schemes, when you initiated, started with 100,000 compensation. And then it is increased to 200,000. Then it increased to 300,000. And then it increased to 600,000. And now it increased to 1.1 million. Right? If a customer deposit, a maximum amount he can get 600. Suppose now your deposit is 500,000, you want to get 600,000, 1.1 million, right? So that's, of course, you are getting only 500,000, right? So suppose if you deposit more than 1.1 million, 1.2 million, so still you are getting 1.1 million, right, under this scheme. So the important thing is Central Bank also, mind you, they said there are 6 financial companies. There are 6 financial companies suspended or cancelled their license by the Central Bank, right, during 2019-20. During these 2 years, 2019 and 2020, there are basically 6 finance companies was cancelled. What are these 6 companies? Can anybody tell me these 6 companies? If the examiner asks you from you, during 2019 and 2020, not 2018, say like this, last 3 years, Central Bank has cancelled or suspended 6 financial institutions in Sri Lanka, or finance company rather than a bank, finance company was cancelled their licenses. So what are these 6 cancelled finance companies? Can anybody tell me 2? Can anybody tell me 3, 4, 5? There are 6. Last 3 years, or to my matter, 3 or 2 years, right? Can anybody tell me what are the 3 or 6 finance companies was cancelled by the Central Bank? At least 3. I think 3 you can tell. What are the 3 finance companies cancelled by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka during last year, at least in 2020? One is D05, what is Swarna Mahal Financial Services, then ETI. Before that, 2019, TKS, that is, then Central Industries Finance Limited, CIFL, and TSCFL. Now TSC means Standard Credit, right? Standard Credit Finance Limited. TKS, right? It's the next one. So there are 6 companies like that cancer. Now, what is central bank is telling, under this Sri Lanka Deposit Insurance Scheme, even though they have close and pay, they are going to give 1.1 per customer per institution, those 6 companies. The examiner can ask from you, under the new compensation package, who are the benefited customers who have deposit money with these particular finance companies. There are 6 finance companies. Now, already almost all companies have paid the 600,000 maximum, right? The people who deposit more than 600,000, they get the full amount. But there are some customers who deposited the money more than 600,000. So they may not in the position to. Okay, right? There are 6 companies. They cancel the license, right? Sorry for interruptions, right? So you need to know, definitely one question is coming on this, right? Okay, definitely one question is coming at the first question. So this is not comes under my purview, but I've just explained to you. Now, who is the what is the department of? Can anybody tell me what is the department of this Sri Lanka Insurance Deposit Liquidity Support Scheme is handled by the central bank? Now, remember, earlier it was handled by Bank Supervision Department of Central Bank. Now, from 2018 onwards, so this SLDILSS, that is Sri Lanka Deposit Insurance and Liquidity Support Scheme, was handled by a separate department. That department is called, remember that, Resolution and Enforcement Department, not Bank Supervision, which was earlier handled. Now it was given to a separate department in the central bank. That department is called Resolution and Enforcement Department, right? So these things you need to know, because these are new, and these are the department look after the industry, some issues about individual institution, financial institution, whether banks or financial bank or commercial, right? Okay, clear, right? Have you got understood now? I taught you something else, right? Another. So you are there
Yes,
now?
sir.
Okay. So you have not learned about this deposit insurance scheme? Not yet. Have you learned? You forgotten? That time you are not learned at all, because there is some question now. Now I have the questions with me now. Okay. Now this is your January 2021 paper. First question. Second, the existence of a deposit insurance scheme. The existence of a deposit insurance scheme, A, reduces the moral hazard problem for bank managers. B, increases the moral hazard problem for bank managers. C, has no effect on the moral hazard problem for bank managers. D, increase in the moral hazard problem for managers in small banks, but reduces it for managers in large banks. Tell me you have not done the Kalada. Can you tell me we have done or not? Huh? Kasun, what do you think? We have done it. I don't want to tell all this again. Yasanti? No, not done. I think doctor will do it again, right? Okay. So then we move it to my subject, William. Right. Then another question I have prepared for you. Then one question is usually comes is the question is usually comes question number usually it usually appeared on right question number 4. Briefly explain the differences between each of the following pairs. That's a normal question. It's very famous, but don't miss. Very easy to answer. Try to write questions, right? Answer the question. Now I'll give you something like that. Write down these pairs. One, Michael Porter generic strategic model. Michael Porter generic strategic model versus Michael Porter 5 forces strategic model. Now, examiner can ask this time, what are the two models? Michael Porter generic strategic model, Michael Porter 5 forces strategic model. Can you answer? Now, these are the questions definitely can come. The last time they asked, the model they asked, a vertical integration versus horizontal integration. Right, vertical integration versus horizontal integration. I will tell you, right, what are the asks last time, last January exam. Briefly explain the differences between each of the following pairs: licensed finance companies and specialized leasing companies. Second question, 5 marks, on balance sheet items and off balance sheet items. Third one, vertical integrations and horizontal integration. That is my question. Fourth one, contingency funding plan and business continuity plan. Okay. Now I will tell you before I put it the next one. Okay. Now my question is there no vertical integrations and horizontal integration. Write down vertical integration. One column is horizontal integration. So what is you need to write? What is vertical integration? Right? Vertical integration, those are we call them as expansion strategies. Both vertical integrations as well as horizontal integrations are expansion strategies, business expansion strategies. Now, what is vertical integration? Vertical integrations mean there are two components of vertical integration. Now, can I draw? Can you see? I will write down, right? Vertical integration. Vertical integration. Right? Now, vertical integration is divided into two. Now, can you remember what is that? Backward integration and forward integration. Now, can you remember? Backward integrations and forward integration. Right? So, integration, there are two types. Integrations are two types. One vertical and second one horizontal integration. That is the questions the examiner asks you. What is vertical integration versus horizontal integration? This is the question. Now, for that you need to understand a little bit of right. What is vertical integrations? Vertical integrations divided into two. Backward and forward. What is backward mean? You take over the control. Take over the control of what? Take over the control of. Take over the control of what? Backward suppliers. So forward integration means take over the control of who? Your distributors. Right? Take over the control of suppliers, take over the control of distributors. Right? In horizontal distribution, what we talk about, so you take over the control of similar organization or competitors. You take over your competitors. Right. Now, both together are called vertical. So then what is the vertical integrations mean? If an organization have a control of both suppliers as well as distribution, we call them as vertical integration. Right? But horizontal integration means you take control of your similar industry, your competitors, we call horizontal integration. Clear now? Okay. Clear? Right. So how to write the answer? So then you have to say what is this one. I give you some just to remind you some background information which I already taught you. Right. Vertical integration is a strategy. All are strategies, right? Strategy whereby company or owns or controls its suppliers, distributors. Right. That is what you call vertical integration. Right. Then horizontal integration, if two companies in the same industry with similar products are merged or acquired, called horizontal integration. Right? So that's the horizontal and vertical integration. Clear, Kasul? Right? Have you, Yasanti, okay? Understood? Okay, Yasanti? You
Yes,
got the
sir.
point? Right. Now you see the first one. Right. The next one, I don't know whether I have communicated to you. Okay, West, even though it's not comes under me, what is the difference between licensed finance companies and specialized leasing companies? So that's another question, but it is not under my area, but I will explain to you. What is the licensed finance companies and specialized leasing companies? Now, first you have to say, what is the act? So what is the act covered under licensed finance companies? What is the act covered under specialized leasing companies? That you need to explain. First one, what is the LFC covered? What act? Under the Business Finance Act number 42 of 2011. Right? So the licensed finance companies are covered under the act of the Life Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011. Whereas the licensed specialized leasing companies are covered under Finance and Leasing Act number 56 of 2000. Right? So you need to say the regulating act. The differences now. Can you tell me another difference? Simple definition. I think you know that. Now the main difference with the finance company and a leasing specialized leasing company, main difference. Come on, simple. What is the main difference? Okay, what is the difference between commercial bank and a finance company? Tell me quickly. What is the difference between finance company and a commercial bank? Not that commercial bank, commercial banks. What is the difference? Main difference? Commercial bank can offer customers what accounts?
Current accounts?
Current accounts, where the finance companies cannot offer current accounts. A specialized bank can offer current account? No. Right? That also differs. Right. Now tell me, what is the difference between LFC and SLC, specialized leasing companies? Main difference. Can leasing companies mobilize funds from public? Yes or no? Can take the customers' deposits by Sri Lanka specialized leasing companies? No. Remember, that is another main difference, right? Licensed finance companies, remember, can take permitted to accept public deposits, whereas specialized leasing companies, they are not authorized to permitted to accept public deposits. That's the main difference. So then how they develop capital? So they issue debentures, commercial papers, and things like to the market, and they collect the money for their lending activities or leasing activities. But licensed finance companies, for that matter, for commercial bank, or that matter for specialized bank, also can collect deposit from the customers. The main difference between LFC and leasing companies in pertaining to the business operation, apart from the regulatory law act, is the non-acceptance of deposits. Right? Clear? So they can issue debt instrument, right? But they can't take the deposit from customers. That's the main difference. Okay? Simple as that. Okay, third one. Okay, next one. It is contingency funding plan and the business continuity plan. Now, what is business continuity plan? We discussed in the business business continuity plan mean if something happen, unforeseen situation or any event of a disaster, to how quickly your organization can start your normal business operation is called business continuity plan. It is the process involved in creating a system of prevention and recovery from a potential threat to a company. Right? Now the plans ensure that personnel and assets are protected and able to function quickly in the event of a disaster. Now this BCP is very important in our pandemic situation. So all the banks are closed. What is the action for banks to continue business operation? Any disaster. Disaster is a pandemic. Some banks created the online banking, mobile vehicle they send, right? So there are a lot of activities have taken. So that is a business. So what is CFT mean basically? That is contingency funding plan. So that is comes under your liquidity management, your risk management. But is financial institution should have a contingency plan or contingency funding plan that addresses the alternative funding sources to utilize when an institution is facing difficulties in meeting obligations. Now see, you have some issue. Now, what is your alternative funding sources apart from that? Then give salary funding source එකක්නේ. එහෙම නැතුව alternative funding source මොනවාරි අදිසියෙන් අද සල්ලි ඕන ඔයාගේ source එක මොකක්ද? That is contingency funding plan. If you are facing any liquid issues or any obligations to pay your debts or whatever, what is your alternative plan of action? So therefore, the central bank must visit and supervise your organization. Please say, what is your funding plan? Individual what is our funding source? Alternative funding source. Okay, you deposit some money, you have FDs, in this bank. I can withdraw and give it to you. That is my contingency funding plan. Oh, suppose I don't have any deposits. Magawa innoa Yasanti. So if I ask some money, Yasanti give me the money. That is my funding source. Right? Somebody is there. That time I have parents. Every time I'm good, my friends. Every time I ask, but those are very secure alternative sources, right? So I have to prove definitely he's going to give me the money. So that is contingency funding plan against business continuity plan. Right? Now you know the differences. Clear? Right. Now I come to my question. I gave you still this type of question examiner not asked. Now, one time the examiner asked from you, I think it is in 2000, I can't remember the year. I think yeah, I think 2 years back, the examiner asked from you, what is the difference between, or what is the comparison, SWOT versus PESTEL? Right? Okay, now I'm talking to my areas, right? SWOT and a PESTEL. If these two questions come, SWOT and a PESTEL, what am I going to write? SWOT is a tool used to examine organization, internal strengths and weaknesses, and also an opportunities for growth or improvement in the external environment. Where the PESTEL analysis, what you're trying to is a tool to identify the organization faces factors purely external, not internal, right? So that's the difference. So can be used to analyze the external environment, whereas the SWOT analysis can be used to analyze your external as well as internal environment. Right? One. So what you need to explain, what is SWOT? Right? Strengths, WOT, second. So then PESTEL, you need to explain what is PESTEL stand for. So PESTEL analysis therefore used for monitor and respond to changes which prevailing in the external environment. SWOT analysis gives you any given time the organization present position. Right? So therefore, in that case, SWOT be facilitated by the PESTEL. So then you can say PESTEL analysis facilitated to develop SWOT. So those two techniques are basically ideal technique for strategy planning purposes. Now you see the how to answer, right? SWOT versus PESTEL. What we have learned. Then sometimes the examiner asks you, I think I can remember which year, one question examiner asks you, strategy planning versus succession planning. Now this year they ask business continuity plan. What is the difference between strategy planning and a succession planning? Right? You know, strategy planning is formulating business strategies, implementing and evaluating and impact based on the organization's goals and objectives. So that is strategy planning. So first you need to define. Then what is succession plan? It is an effort to protect the organization capacity to perform key function. So important relationship, the fulfill a leadership transaction. So somebody is moving for another organization, who is going to success? That is succession plan. So success strategy planning helps to understand the current position of the organization and where you're going to be in the next couple of years. What are the areas organizations going to attack? Now, succession plan is ensuring that organization continue to run smoothly even after most important people leave the organization. Now say your CEO is leaving today. They give the resignation. How the organization run? For that you must have a succession planning. Now who is going to come next? Yasanti, which bank you are? It's okay to ask from you. Yasanti, which bank you are working? Come on, at the
So
two
I'm not working for the time being.
right, okay. So now, say for an example, the who is going to be the next GM, next CEO? Because we need to have a GM or CEO to run the business. So the succession planning, even your existing GM or CEO move, then there is another person come and take over the CEO positions and start operation. Right now, it's classic example for a commercial bank in Sri Lanka. Mr. Ranganathan came once your former Mr. Jagdish has gone to a DFCC as a job. So there's a line of people who are ready to take over that position. That is succession plan. Now, usually, strategy plan is prepared for a 3 year, whereas succession planning may be a short term, medium term, and a long term, right? So usually a succession plan is prepared in short term, medium term. Now you look at it. How many now your DGMs in your bank, when they are going to leave? How 5 years time there are 5 DGMs are leaving the organization, they are retiring. So who is going to take over? Next year some DGM is retiring. Who is going to replace that? Short term, medium term. 7 years, your CEO is going to retire. Who is going to be the next CEO? So therefore, the strategic succession plan can be prepared short, medium, and long, whereas strategy plan is usually prepared for a 3 year period. Okay, right. So some food for thought about compare and comparison, right? Okay, now come back to my question. I asked from you, and there's another famous question the examiner may ask from you. What is a vision and a mission? Difference between mission and a mission. What is vision? Right? Futuristic in nature, usually long-term driven. But a mission, current in nature, usually short-term to medium-term. But vision is a long-term. Now, visions give directions to the organization. So, mission is the purpose of organization. Why organization is existing. Vision inspire people for a dream, whereas mission statement inspire them to action. It's a dream and it's action. Vision is very broad and mission is very narrow. Vision is support to achieve your mission statement. Mission statement guide to formulations of goals and objectives. Vision is support to form mission, whereas mission forms to develop your objectives and goals. Right? That is the vision and mission differences. I'm referring only my areas, right? Okay. Then sometimes the examiner may ask, what is the difference between merging and acquisition? Merging means it is the combinations of two previously separate organizations in order to form a new company. But acquisition, take control another company. So acquisitions can be friendly or hostile, right? I'm telling you every time, remember Chandrika Bandaranayaka Kumarrattu is a merging because he will put his name and husband name. But sometimes ladies, once they married, they not using their own surname. They use husband's name. That is acquisition, right? Okay. So then coming back to my question, um, then talk about right, my question. Michael Porter, generic strategic model versus Michael Porter, five forces strategic model. Right, tell me now. Okay, you first put down Michael Porter generic strategic model. Michael Porter, five forces. Now, first of course, have you heard about Michael Porter generic strategies? Kasun, anybody? What is Michael Porter generic strategies? Now you know Michael Porter five forces strategies, right? I today explained, but generic strategies. What is the main difference? Okay, can anybody tell me? Simple, right? Michael Porter five forces strategy mainly used for what? Mainly used for what?
Environmental analysis.
Yes, good. External environmental analysis, especially analyze the competitors. Right, good. Mainly used for external environmental analysis. Good, very good. Now then, what is Michael Porter generic strategic model? Have you heard about this? Have you heard about three type of strategies comes under Michael Porter? What are the strategies? Generic strategies? I think you know. One, cost leadership. What is the second one? Differentiation. Third one, focus. These are the three type of strategies. Cost leadership. So these are the strategies used to compete with your competitor. These models of the Michael Porter generic strategic model suggest possible strategies that organization could adapt to achieve of organizational goals and objectives. Whereas a Michael Porter five forces strategies talk about analyzing the present situation or the external environment. Here, the Michael Porter generic strategic model suggests the possible strategies out of what? Cost leadership, differentiated, and focus. So therefore, this model can be used as a formulation stage of the strategy planning process, whereas the Michael Porter five Porter forces analysis could be used to consider at the analytical stage or analysis stage of the strategy planning process. Where are we now? Where the Michael Porter generic strategies talk about where are you want to be? What is the strategy you are going to use? Right? So the Michael Porter strategy, five forces, done a situational analysis, whereas Michael Porter generic strategies talk where formulation of a strategy, where are you going to be? Right? Whereas the Michael Porter five forces model can be useful to generate ideas for position analysis, focus on industry analysis, right? And Michael Porter position about this business analysis. What are the limits? You can put some limitations also, right? So these are the type of questions the examiner will ask from you. That is why I put this time Michael Porter generic strategy versus Michael Porter 5 forces strategy. Okay, right. Some more. Any questions? Any questions? If you want to clarify before we are in the last 9 minutes, I think we have
Sir, can
discussed.
you explain strategies again? When we refer to the Michael Porter's generic strategic model.
Right. It is in your handout, but I will tell you. Right now, okay, if I explain to you Michael Porter generic strategic model. Now, sometimes these models we call them as Puta as a you know the as a how to compete with your competitor. How to compete with your competitor. Now, one method you can use it is a cost leadership. Now, cost leadership means so you are beating your competitor through pricing. Now, say now there are banks, example, right? But not at the cost of any other quality or anything, right? So I am going to beat you my cost, provided the same quality. Now say two banks. Think about commercial banks and Bank of Ceylon. Two banks. So both types, okay, forget about commercial. We'll take example NDB and NTB. Is this for an example, right? So don't take other than that. NDB and NTB. Now NTB want to get more deposits, more to develop, overcome in the terms of deposit base through NTB. NTB having less deposits, say for an example, than NDB now. That means the deposit base of the NTB is less than NDB. Now say NTB going to use, they are going to improve their deposit base. They are going to use some strategy. The strategy they use by NTB is called cost leadership. What they try to do now? They are going to offer higher rates than NDB for their deposits, or they may charge less interest rate for their lending. Both ways, cost leadership. So customers, both banks are equally same. So what the customers are looking at it, who gave me the highest interest rate? I'll go to the NTB. Because why? What is the strategy they use? Cost leadership strategy. They give you higher interest rate to the customers. So therefore, customers are moving to NTB. How NTB overcome NDB? Using cost leadership strategy. Cost leadership strategy. Understood now? Cost leadership strategy. Clear? Right.
Yes,
Then the differentiation. Another strategy called differentiation. Right. I'll explain to you simple way. Now you want to go, say, Singapore Airlines from Colombo to Singapore. You also want to go to Singapore through Air Asia. Right? Both are going to where? Singapore. You want to go. Now, which channel, which plane you're going to use it? Which airlines you're going to use it? One is a budget airline, say for an example. Other one is, but you make difference. When you're going for, say, budget airline, you're charging minimum rates. You're not giving any facilities. Now, when you travel through Singapore Airlines, they give you food where you like it. They treat you and they give you what? Hot drinks. They offer you, you difference, right? You difference your offer. So that is how you beat your competitor, right? That is differentiation. Product offer differentiation. When you go for sometimes certain destination by CTB bus and some private bus, so you see the difference. You're going to the same destination, no? But how you make it different? You are giving more facilities. So you differentiate, but your objective to go to the Matharan. But you can use it train, you can use it Langava, you can take private bus. So why Langava? Why private bus? The differentiation. So how can you beat Langava in that case? Right. Third one is the focus strategy. Right? You are not going for all the, now you see certain outlets in Sri Lanka, only top class houses. Now take the cars. Some people drive Benz, certain class. Some people are using what? Maruti and all. Some beers, we say premium beer. You are catering to the small segments. You are focused certain clientele. Right? That is why we call premier banking center like that. Specific focus on upends the market. You develop products or services to cater into that market. Now, when I travel one day I will stop at some Singapore. I noted when just visiting all these, window dressing, so window shopping, I have seen a pen. I'll go and ask from that shop, how much this pen cost? You believe it, 25,000 US dollars. My goodness. Then I said, are there any people to buy this one? There are some whiskeys, they are costing you money. 10,000 or something more than dollars. Then I have experienced that pen. Then I asked from that girl, are there any people who buy this pen for $25,000? Yes. I asked who are those who are having these oil factories and all. These people will buy. So therefore, there is a separate market for this type of product. So this is what you call focus strategies. Right? You're focusing only to different people. They are not large, they are only small. Right? So that is why we have some premium brands for catering to that particular segment. Okay? Right. I think you understood now, Huda. Right? What is that? Three strategies: cost leadership, differentiation, and focus. These strategies,
Yes, sir.
possible strategies that organization could adapt to achieve organization goals and objectives. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Right. Okay. Any questions now? Last minute. Now we have come to almost finish. So, any clarifications? Right. I hope I have done myself to maximum I can give to you. Right. And if you have any problem, you can I will support you. You can call me and you send me an SMS, and then I will answer. If I not answer, right, my number is not 777, easy to remember, 864202. Let us start with 8, then -2, -2, -2, -2. 864202, right? Not 777. Okay, you can come on this number, and if you have any clarification, please come back to me. If I have not answered, please send me an SMS. Okay, right. Okay, have your So please be ready to and this is subject you can easily pass. I will guarantee you. Right? Okay. Right. Thank you very much and all the best. If you have any problem, as I told you, please communicate it with me. I will answer.